Do you have clients that are concerned about living a comfortable retirement? Well, if that's the case, then today in this episode of Selling Life and Annuities, we're going to talk about the risks that those retirees face in achieving that objective. So please stay tuned. Hey everybody, I'm Randy Pierson, Vice President of Life and Annuities for Board Marketing, and today with me I've got Tim Luby, our RVP of Annuity Sales, and we're going to talk a little bit about retirement planning. Hopefully, if you're an agent and you're working with older age clients, whether they're approaching retirement or in retirement, you're providing them with some degree of service and consultation in making sure, or at least hoping to make sure that they live a more comfortable retirement. But more specifically, addressing and informing them as to the risks that they face, right? The risks that they face. And certainly over the last 30 or 40 years, there's been a lot of turmoil, Tim, right? That has negatively impacted the American populace's ability to guarantee themselves a comfortable retirement. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah, a lot less government-sponsored plans, employer-sponsored plans. Basically, American consumers are much more having to rely on themselves now to provide an income and to provide for their retirement.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. You know, that's the first thing that came to my mind as well, right? When Uncle Sam rolled out the 401k, it was supposed to be this great tool to help people live a more comfortable retirement. And I think to a large degree, it had the opposite effect because employers then suddenly decided, wow, now the onus for saving for retirement and guaranteeing that their employees would be comfortable, that onus switched from the employer and qualified retirement plans, defined benefit plans. It shifted to the employee's responsibility, right? And
Absolutely.
But that's where really annuities come in, right? Because
Right.
those programs went away, but guess who can provide something comparable in today's world?
Yeah, uniquely capable of helping in those areas, particularly as it relates to providing an income that can last a lifetime. In the old days, Social Security and pension plans would do that. But you can't buy those. An annuity is the only thing that you can buy that will provide an income that's guaranteed to last as long as you live, or you and your spouse live, if that's the case.
Which means that the only people that can provide them to consumers are insurance companies and licensed insurance agents. And hopefully that means you, those folks out there watching this video.
That's right.
So let's talk about a couple of the other risks. What other risks to a comfortable retirement or a risk that come up in retirement planning is top of mind for you?
Well, probably one of the biggest ones is longevity. It's one of the top ones. And the fact that you can get an income that can last a lifetime is really key. But people are living longer. When Social Security was first put together, people were only living to 65 or 70 years old. Mm-hmm. Now it's not uncommon at all for people to live well into their 80s. If a pair of 65-year-olds, one of them has a 50% chance of making it into their 90s.
Absolutely.
So people are living much longer. So the onus of providing for that income to last from 65, of retirement age, all the way well into your 90s, it's a much bigger responsibility, a much bigger number than it used to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And particularly those folks who are living longer lives, or we as an American public that are living longer lives, it becomes so important to not rely on Uncle Sam, i.e. Social Security. The responsibility is up to the consumer.
Right. They say it's the number one fear of Americans. It's not public speaking or dying. It's running out of income before they run out of breath.
Yeah.
So that's longevity. That's one of the great risks.
And I happen to know that, and this is one of the things that I talked about a lot when I was a personal producer, seeing clients and getting out and working with consumers. Another important risk is something that we are keenly familiar with and experiencing to a very high degree in the economic environment today, and that is what? Inflation. Holy crap. So, I happened to see on the news this morning that they just came out with current inflation rates. So at the time of the recording of this video, year over year inflation is running 9.1%. So what kind of risks does that impart to somebody's retirement planning?
Right. Well, it's significant. Inflation is reducing the purchasing power of that dollar. So, $100 today isn't going to buy what $100 is going to in 10 years. It's going to have significantly lower purchasing power. And that's at historically normal inflation rates, if you will, or what we've been used to in the last decade or so.
Yeah.
But now when we're nearly double-digit inflation rates, that's going to have an impact on people's retirement plans, and it's got to be addressed.
Absolutely. So what else? What next comes to mind for you?
A top risk would probably be the market volatility diversification. And we're seeing this in today's market more than ever. We know a lot of portfolios that are probably down, well over 30%.
Yeah.
And, the closer people get to retirement, the more that risk means to them. We talked about the return of their money versus on their money being so ultimately important.
Yeah.
But that market volatility, or the need to diversify, is a risk that needs to be addressed. And annuities can work very well for that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, right? One of our favorite phrases, zero is your hero, is so apropos right now. I would hope that agents out there are screaming that mantra from the rooftops, right? All those folks whose 401k balance, they're afraid to open the websites or their account statements when they show up in the mail because they know they're going to be down precipitously. Right. But we have products where we can look a client in the eye and say, you don't have that concern.
Nope.
with our products. But what else? What else comes to mind?
So volatility is one, and of course people accept that volatility or that risk, if you will, chasing higher rates. But the returns that annuities can provide are pretty compelling, and that's important. But the other one is withdrawals, or excess withdrawals in particular. There's a risk with that. And that comes back to the idea of taking out too much and not having your income last as long as you do.
Yeah.
And that's really important. So it kind of ties in with the longevity, but it's also the risk of not having a managed strategy that will make sure that your income doesn't expire before you do.
Yeah. Anything else?
The last risk I think that we need to talk about, and we do a great job with this, or we can do a great job with this for those that can afford it, is addressing the healthcare expenses. It can be a significant component, especially when you think of long-term care.
Yeah.
We've got phenomenal solutions for long-term care, though, that can help you, whether you live, quit, or die, can really help you address that risk.
Yeah, I would agree. And I oftentimes say to agents that from my perspective and observation, the one financial product, insurance-specific financial product that is available to consumers and can be sold by agents that is woefully underrepresented, it's long-term care. It's long-term care because anybody turning 65 has a high degree of chance that they're going to need some type of long-term care benefit in their lifetime.
Yeah.
But like something
70%,
like...
70%, I think.
Absolutely. So 70% are going to need it.
That's right.
But less than 10% have any financial solution, particularly an insurance-related solution, to solve that financial need.
That's right.
So we've addressed some of the risks and concerns that consumers are facing in the objective of trying to live a comfortable retirement. Now, if you're an advisor and you want to, provide a more holistic approach to your consultative services to your clients, you need to reach out to Tim or I. We've got fact finders, we've got informational data sheets and tools to assist you in learning how to be a better retirement advisor to your clients. All you got to do is reach out to us, right?
That's right.
So unfortunately for now, however, we've reached the end of this episode of Selling Life and Annuities. I would like to ask you or encourage you to please do me a favor and click subscribe at the bottom of this video, as well as the notification bell, so that every time we come out with this valuable kind of content, you'll be sure to hear about it. But for now, on behalf of Tim Luby and myself, we want to wish you happy selling.